Hello everybody, my name is Hal and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be going over my Live Arena season, how I've had the best season in the entire time that I've been playing Raid. Since Live Arena's come out, it's been by far my best season. How I was able to do so well so quickly, kind of the strategies that I have kind of picked up on, some of the best champions, if you are not much of a spender, all sorts of fun stuff that we're going to go over today. So the first thing is, well, how did I do? We got to 1325 with 2 days and 6 hours left. Now, this doesn't really matter. I only really started playing about 4 days ago. I went up about, I want to say 600 to 500 points in about 3.5, 4 days. So I'm very, very, very happy with how I've done. I have over a 60% win rate, 62%. I mean, that's almost on par with people like Sathias and, Jose here, better than Don Bourbon, close to John 316, better than Leo Bob Marley, better than this guy, better equal to this guy, better close, close, tied. It's on par with some of the best players in the game. They've just played a whole lot more and they have a lot better rosters. Every single one of these guys is going to have a crazy, crazy player profile and all that stuff. But to be close to or on par or doing a little bit better than some of the people in the top 50 is pretty good in my opinion. And I've done it without the best arena roster. Now we're kind of gonna look at some of my builds, look at who I've used the most, who really helped carry me throughout all of this. These are my 20 arena champions. I didn't really use anybody else, and I didn't even use most of these. There is about seven-ish that I used a lot. Ooh, little yawn there, sorry. About seven that I used a lot, and then the rest were here and there that I picked up. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at some of my recent fights. We can go over who I've used, who we see the most. So in most of my fights, now I had a little bit of a rough run here at the end. Most of my fights, you're going to see Armons, you're going to see Embries, you're going to see Ashnar, you're going to see Marius, you're going to see Arbiter. There's going to be some games with like Crixia, Fabian, Carnage, but that's really all the champions you're going to see. Now, this is just what I found to be the most effective. And while we're here, let's take a look at what I was going up against. What are some of the more consistent things I was seeing? So here, Fabian, Embries, Hilvi, Leonardo, Arbiter, Shujin, Marius, and Fabian, Gizmak, Crixia, Gauthier, Marichka, Gauthier, Fabian, Lazarius, Fabian, Theodosia, Fabian, Siphi, Carnage, Fabian, Marichka, Gizmek. It's it's a lot of the same stuff. Everybody's using the same stuff, and I have come up with some strategies that have really, really, really worked for me. So if we head on over here to my builds, we're gonna go over, the main builds that really, really carried me. So we're going to start with Ashnar. Now, Ashnar is, in my opinion, a top 3 champion in all of Raid. I think he is just flat out one of the best in the entire game. And in my season run this season, he has only proved to me to be so much better than I initially thought. Now, the gear he's in, I've changed a little bit. I had to swap out his shield to put it on Crixia, so I'd be able to use her. So he lost some speed. Just keep that in mind. For majority of the time, he had like an extra 9 or 9-ish speed, 9, 10 speed. and now at the end he is just under 400. So do keep that in mind, you know, a little bit faster for a majority of the season until I pulled Crixia and wanted to get some gear on her, and we'll kind of talk about all the builds that I really used. So Ashnor. I was really, really struggling because I was using Lysandra and Arbiter as my main speed boosters for a very long time, and I noticed that Lysandra just wasn't really working for me. She doesn't bring much else besides turn meter control. So I figured I would make Arbiter my fastest because she has the 6-star soul. It's easier for me to get some of the stuff on her, and she doesn't need a wand. So I put her in some of my faster gear, and she got up to 441, which isn't incredible, but it's not too bad. So I threw her in there, and then I made Ashnor my second fastest, and I put him in Feral. One of the biggest things that I noticed that you really, really need is a Feral or a Stone Skin speed booster. Now, my Feral gear was better. I have quite a few really good fast Feral pieces, especially like chest plates and things. So it made it pretty easy for me to choose where to go from there. So I put him in Feral. Feral also allows him to counter things like bombs. It allows him to counter Cavalax. The only trade-off that I would say is big is one, Nell can ignore Feral, and Hegemon. It doesn't really care about Feral because he'll just kill you. So those are really the only two champions that I can think of where having a Stone Skin build would be better, because things like bombs and stuff, they'll just kill you through that. So Feral just seemed to me to be the best option. And something you'll notice is oh wow, I'm actually missing an ascension here. So, you know, there's a lot about his build that isn't finished. But in this build, as he is right here, he was AoEing for almost 200k against most teams, which is pretty insane as a champion that isn't built to be full nukage. He isn't even kind of built for nukage. He's crit capped, he has some crit damage, he has some defense, and he was doing a ton of damage. He was also usually the speed booster. He counters supersonic, he counters Gizmak, Volcanos, any of those guys. There's a lot that Ashnar brings. And, you know, if you're in a pretty crappy situation, after you've used your first turn, you've speed boosted, you can swap over, you can AoE and provoke them. If you know, this cannot be a weak hit when hitting enemies under HP burn. If they still have HP burn, he can go ahead and put out a provoke. He's also doing a ton of damage. He can't weak hit, so, you know, if there's an affinity issue, it's no longer an issue because if you have HP burnout, this guy's just incredible, and it makes it so easy to do really, really everything. Like he's just such a good champion. Just a quick run through his stats one more time for you guys. I have him in a wand right now because when you go to use his A3 in his first form, he can get sheeped pretty easily, so it is pretty important to have him in a wand. And I will say right now, not Merciless, Mercurial is going to be coming into the meta very heavy as time moves on, and him as a speed booster will become less and less effective as more people are built Mercurial, and we'll actually talk about Mercurial in a little bit. But as is, he's an incredible speed booster, nuker, everything. So these are the masteries that I have. So yeah, Ashnor, probably my MVP of the entire season. Just an incredible champion. He's not even min-maxed build or anything. Just a great champ. The next champion that I used, probably the most or tied. It's a three-way tie between Armand's, Marius, and Embry's. So we'll start with Armand's here. He's in Stone Skin and Supersonic. He is 361 speed, 541 accuracy. He is in a wand. He has 6-star intimidating presence, and these are his masteries. So one of the big issues with this build that I noticed pretty much the entire time I was using him is his accuracy is way too low. For next season, I will have to revamp this build to give him a good bit more accuracy, because majority of people resist him, which can be very, very frustrating. But I do really like the Stone Skin and Supersonic mix here. It really does work against a lot of different teams, things like Siphi or Arbias, Lazarius, pretty much everything. He is a great, great option. I will say I will be moving him from Intimidating Presence over to Polymorph. I believe Polymorph is just the better option on him. After, I have my Arbiter, I have my Ashnar in Intimidating Presence. I have quite a few champions in it. I think Armand should really be in Sheep. So yeah. Overall, he of course, I mean he's Armand's, he has some really good pieces, but he definitely was a big, big carry. That it seems like people don't tend to respect anymore. Um, I tended to get him through most drafts, which, I mean, if we roll that back, 8 months ago, would be pretty crazy. So yeah, I mean, incredible champion, of course. Armand's 6-star soul makes everything easier, and he will be getting a more thorough build, getting his glyphs up and everything as time goes on. Now to the next champion that absolutely carried me, Marius, Stone Skin, Lethal, just the basic build. 7.3k defense, 300 speed, 100% crit rate, 325 crit damage, 350 accuracy. The reason why his accuracy is so low is because of this banner. I mean, if we look, let's see. This is pretty good. It the banner's giving us almost almost 600 defense, which is pretty insane. Actually, no, it's giving more than 700. Um, I meant more than 600. It's just a crazy, crazy banner that I can't really swap off of. So yeah, those are these are his pieces. It's a very good build. He has a cat's gaze, unrelenting power, target smash, and bloodthirsty prowess. Yeah. I mean, I will say Crushing Rend, not all that impactful. If you if you're not really using Marius in PvE all that much, I would highly, highly recommend swapping to Soul Reap. It's the much better option. The other thing that I would say you could definitely be going with is I mean either Polymorph or Life Harvest. They're all really good options on him. But yeah, I have him in Crushing Run for PvP, and these are his masteries. Make sure to pick up Sniper and Master Hexer. They're incredibly important to make his build as effective as possible. On to a champion that probably like solo carried the most amount of times. Embry's just, I mean, probably the single best free PvP champion in the game. I'd say he's better than Marius for PvP right now, at least live arena. I don't know about classic arena or 3v3 or siege, but in live arena, it seems like Embrys is just the best champion majority of the time. It's pretty wild. So this is my build on him. In the base form, 105k HP, 311 speed, 267 crit damage. And then if we swap forms, he's at 113k HP, 305 speed, 280 crit damage. His crit damage isn't the best, but I'm just kind of waiting on a soul on him, a 4-star soul, and that would take him up. I mean, if we got a 6-star soul on him, his stats would be pretty insane. Right now they're good, but definitely have some room for improvement. He has some pretty insane pieces and still room to grow, apparently. There's a triple, there's a quad, a triple. No, actually, not much there. So a lot of room to grow on speed as well. I could probably get him up to 350 somewhat reasonably, which would be pretty insane. something I might really look into. I haven't booked his first form at all. His second form is fully booked. I have him in Lightning Cage, and these are the masteries I have gone with. I just, like I said, he's solo carried more than anybody else on my entire account, and making sure that, his masteries allow him to do that with things like Wrath of the Slain, Spirit Haste, Whirlwind of Death. All of these things come together to just make this champion a complete and total powerhouse. Uh, Nuking MVP, definitely Embry's as champion, just incredible. Make sure to build him in your best gear. Um, yeah, and not much else to say there. Some other, like honorable mentions, champions that really, really did a lot for me. Of course, Arbiter, like I said, fastest champion. So of course she's gonna get used. She has the Holiday, 6-star intimidating presence. Here are her masteries. Pretty standard stuff there. Another champion that did a lot for me, not later into the season, but earlier on, Nell definitely did a lot for me. Almost 6k attack, 297 speed, 711 accuracy, Arachnid Elixir, only 2-star lethal dose right now, and Eagle Eye. As I get a higher blessing on her, she'll become better and better for me. But right now, it was just kind of hard to use her sometimes. Another fantastic champion is Lamasu. I used her when they took Arbiter, and I was left with Ashnar and Armons. They took Arbiter, they took Fabian, so I bring in Lamasu uh, as my third, support option. She really does a lot. She is 384 in supersonic. She has an infernal polytope because I have nobody else to really put that on, and it gives speed. She has intimidating presence, and she has eagle eye. Really, really solid there. Fabian, I honestly really didn't use him, guys. He tends to get picked most fights, and he just isn't as impactful for me as other champions. Carnage actually did so much for me this season. The build he has isn't incredible, but it's definitely not bad. 3.5k attack, 248 speed, 316 crit damage, 343 accuracy. I will continue to work on his build, but with the build that he has right now, he did a ton of work, and he really surprised me, especially with things like Predator, Embreeze, all of these different passives that can really make it hard to kill somebody. Carnage just counters them. Um, so yeah, that's the build I have on him. Just incredible champion. His speed aura, of course, being the best in the game. So he comes in as an option when I just have my Ashnar as my booster. I bring Arbiter, I bring Ashnar, and then I bring Carnage. Just a really good combo there. Next is Commodus. Commodus was one of, I'd say, one of the most banned champions that I brought in. He's incredibly strong. He has a very, very solid build on him. 117k HP, 339 speed, 532 accuracy and pinpoint and stone skin. He has a wand of submission, of course, and these are his masteries. I really, really like my Commodus. He's been really fun. So I'm glad I'm really glad that I pulled him. He's just a fun champion. I wouldn't say he's like incredibly powerful right now, but sometimes you can bring him in and he can just instant win a fight for you. Next up and last up really is Crixia. I pulled her near the end of the season, and she's been really cool. I only used her in a few fights, and the build on her though is really good. I'm really liking this build, and there's only room to grow. You can see here, no speed glyphs, not the best pieces, but in this build, she does a lot of work. So I'm super happy with this build, and will continue working on it. She has a temporal stagnator right now, just to help with the weak hits. She isn't booked. I haven't gotten any mythic books since I got her. And then she's going down into Unshakable. She has Lasting Gifts, Master Hexer, and Lore of Steel. And I'll throw in one more champion here. unreal. He's been one of my favorite champions for a very long time now. 8.4k attack, 280 speed, 314 crit damage. He lost a bit of his gear to champions like Armand's. This used to be on him, but a quad roll speed has to go to another champion, but he still does a lot of work some fights. Gore Crescent with two Bloodthirsters can be incredibly powerful. I wish I could change it off to something like Phantom Touch or a Soul Reap or something to make his passive better, but he still does a lot of damage, and he is going down into Helm Smasher. I guess one last one. Cheshire doing a lot of work. Champion just hits crazy hard. Scroll He has a Scroll of the Unseen on him, cracking roots. I really just need a higher soul for him, and he will be even better. But there's times where he'll just one-shot the entire team. It doesn't matter if they have Stone Skin or not. Cheshire just hits crazy hard. But that is my roster, who I used. Now, thoughts for next season, real quick. I will be building up my Predator. I will be getting him in some amazing gear because I've learned this season that Predator is so incredibly annoying. Oh my goodness, this champion needs. He doesn't need to be nerfed, but holy crap, you have to bring Carnage in if you're going to fight him. It's such a slog. Alright, so those are the champions I've used, kind of, the builds I have on him, all that fun stuff. Now, I kind of want to talk to you guys about some of the different matchups that you tend to deal with and how I handled them. So one of the biggest things and one of the most common things you're going to see is Galathier alongside Fabian, alongside Marichka, and let's say Nias or something like that. And you had to ban the Hegemon that was +4 6-star Stone Skin Smasher or whatever. When you're dealing with something like that, one of the biggest things is, since I tend to use Ashnar, I either okay, let's walk you through a scenario. You're going up against the roster I just mentioned. They're all in Stone Skin. They all have they have the Volcardiac heart shield. They have a bolster shield, so they're crazy protected. They have all this sorts of stuff, and I've gone against this exact setup many, many times just using the champions that I've mentioned. How do you handle this? So one of the biggest things that I did is I would still use Ashnar. I wouldn't care about Marichka, and I would always start with the A3. I would instantly proc her passive, her block damage passive. From there, I will have either drafted my Armons or my Arbiter. Let's say in this situation, I brought my Armons in. So I would use his A3 first before anything against whatever champion I thought was least likely to have a wand. From there, he strips all the buffs and gets rid of the block damage. He gets rid of the Volcardiac heart shield. Tries to get rid of some of the stone skin. If I'm lucky, it gets rid of one other person's besides the person that I targeted. Now I'm in a really good position because they don't have all their protection. They have HP burn, they have weaken, whatever it may be. From there, it's either Carnage, and Embrace, or a Marius nuke. Wipe out the first wave of them. Usually Marichka is higher resistance than my Armons can handle. So they keep all their buffs. It doesn't really matter. As long as I'm able to go in and either block passives, block actives on their nuker, or block revive their nuker, or just constantly kill their nuker with my A1, it doesn't really matter. By then, they're completely neutralized, and there's really nothing they can do. It's just a very, very strong comp, and there's not too much outplay to something like that, especially when you're a little bit faster. I guess a good example of that would be probably, because I don't have any good examples in the screenshot. This is probably the only one that's somewhat similar, but that one was pretty easy. My Ashnar just one-shot their entire team besides the Galathier. But yeah. So overall, I had, like I showed you guys, a 62% win rate. I don't really plan on playing anymore. I played 300 fights in less than a week. It was incredibly boring. that has, you can do 4 or 5 fights and it's pretty fun. But when you've maxed out the gold chest, it just gets boring. Because you don't have too much to look forward to in the way of getting like primal shards or anything. Um, for next season, like I mentioned, Predator is going to be the biggest thing for me. And the other thing is Mercurial set. This set is completely broken. This, my gosh, this set is just gross. Especially at 9 piece. At 9 piece, it is something else. I'm not excited for it, but it's inevitable for it to come in as the strongest set in the game for PvP. It doesn't matter who you're using it on. You can use it on nukers, you can use it on revivers, you can use it on speed boosters. It's just so oppressive. I'm really hoping that some people can come up with some really good counterplay for that. Right now, it just seems like either outspeed it or you just have to outspeed it. You can't use things like bombs. You can't use things like Ashnor. You can't use this. It doesn't matter. Like it acts like it never happened. Same with Nell's passive. Same with Volcanos. Same with Gizmak. Total Guard completely counters these champions entirely. So it's just not fun. I'm not really excited for the next couple seasons until we get something that really counters Total Guard. Right now, Mercurial set, it's gonna be completely busted as we get some 9 piece sets out there, as we get more even just like six to 7 piece sets. It's just it's gonna be so bad. But I'm sure there will be counterplay. There will be some fun ways to counter it. But those are just kind of my thoughts. That's how I had the best season of Live Arena that I've had so far. If you guys did enjoy this video, if you did like it at all, if you learned anything from it, consider liking the video, subscribing, comment down below some of the things that helped you with this Live Arena season. If you learned anything from the video, be sure to comment that as well. I would love to hear anything you guys have to say. So, thank you all again for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.